Okay. So welcome to Wheeler's third grade virtual ASA informational session. This is a very important session because there's some changes that I needed to inform you all. And then, just so that you know what options we have. So our learning targets, this is a practice that we have at our school, is to provide you with information regarding the ASA state test that all third grade students are required to pass to be promoted to fourth grade as required by the Move On When Reading and Move On When Reading program. And so it's also to build a partnership with you as a family to ensure that the students are prepared for the testing window, which starts on April 1st and ends April 26th. And so those are our learning targets for today. If you have any questions at the end or we have not met these learning targets, please let us know. Just a little overview here of what Move On When Reading is. Move On When Reading began in Arizona in 2010 when the Arizona state legislature passed this legislation creating the program to ensure that all Arizona students met ELA proficiency levels so that all these third graders that are going into middle school soon were, up to grade level. And so this was designed to provide students with evidence-based reading instruction and interventions from kinder through third grade. So those are the grades where they consider the basis for successful academia throughout. And so because it's the early grade levels when they learn to read and everything is very important. Move On When Reading requires that an Arizona student not be promoted from third grade if the student does not demonstrate sufficient reading skills on the state test. And so that being said, the third grade students have to participate in the state assessment. They have to meet the cut scores for the reading portion to be promoted to fourth grade. And so that's not new. So the Move On When Reading cut score is not minimally proficient. It is much lower. The cut score makes about 3% of the state third grade testing population. Like, for example, last year, Wheeler had no students that did not pass the test. Well, some of the students didn't pass the test, but they still made it because the cut is not necessarily minimally proficient. It's lower than that. So there are some students that can be minimally proficient in the test, but still pass the Move On When Reading cut score. And each year is different depending on the years before scores that the third graders did performed as the state average. And so it changes yearly, I believe. And so the Move On When Reading legislation requires that students not be promoted to third grade with a score on the ASA reading portion that falls below the Move On When Reading cut score established by the State Board of Education. And so there are some things that can exempt students from being retained. And so students that are EL, students that have certain exit placement, some reading assessments, also depending if they had a bad day or something, we can if we can prove, like, for example, I know as an administrator, I had a year when a student had a mother passed away during that week. And so we were able to demonstrate that that student was having a really bad day and they waived that requirement. And then if they demonstrated sufficient reading progress. So those are the exemptions. So based on this, any student that does not meet that cut score can do summer school to try to pass and be promoted to fourth grade. So the Move On When Reading summer school program will be available for those students who did not meet. But unfortunately this year, that's the biggest change. We are not able to just move them by having an end of the summer school test that either the district has available or the school has available. This year, they have to go back and redo the state test completely in order to be passed. So that is the biggest change that they had this year coming from the Department of Education, is that they have to pass the ASA again. And it's a long test. So we want to make sure that our students don't have to do that if at all possible, because it is a lot of testing for our students. And then again, these are the retest window will be June 17 to 19 to July 19. Those are the times where the students are able to take that test again to see if they can pass. And that is after they attend summer school sessions. Are there any questions as of right now? Okay. So changes, this is just a little summary. Local testing will not be adequate enough to measure progress this year. All students will be identified for move on when reading. We'll need to retest only the reading portion, not the math. And this can impact, you know, the amount of students that do not pass this year. So just little tips there. So going back to first things first, our partnership with our parents. So this is our biggest ask, is, you know, that one of the most important things that you can do to ensure your student is prepared is to have them here on time every day, so that they are obtaining all the skills that are being taught, except for when they are ill. Of course, if they are, you know, sick, they're not feeling well, we understand. We don't want them to come sick, come to school sick. We do begin instruction promptly at 8 a.m. When students are frequently tardy, they are missing crucial instructional time. I do want to tell you that all of our teachers start with English language instruction right at 8 as soon as we do announcements. And so when those students are 15, 20, 30 minutes, they miss half of their reading block. And so it's very important that they're here on time. And then this slide just, you know, says practice makes perfect. And I wanted to scratch that off because that's usually what people say, practice makes perfect, but practice makes better. I don't think that the expectation should be to be perfect. The expectation is to grow and become better at what we do. And so these are some of the things that you can do to support our students. In class, we have introduced the ASA testing site. They do the practice test. They know the type of questions they're going to be asked by the time they get to the test. Especially this team is very good at doing that. You know, this test should not be taken multiple times. The practice test, if you do it at home, only do it once. We are going to do it here once. I don't think we should do more than that, because at the end of the day, the students then will think that they're the same answers, and we want them to be able to focus and read and take their time. So there is a practice test. Again, we will do that one here at school. And then if you want to do it at home, speak to your teacher. There are instructions here that I will go over for you to access that test. Any questions as of right now? Any comments from the teachers? Any of the teachers want to say something? Add to what I have said so far? So we know the results.
Rodriguez. Sorry, I don't know if you could see this, but Miss Lauren Merkel said, how soon after testing do we know if they've passed?
So we know right away before the summer, because we are supposed to let the parents know if the student needs to attend summer school. And so third grade tests are the very first ones to be released. I don't have a date yet, but I know it's before we get out for the summer. It's our testing window, right after the testing window is like 2 to 3 weeks, I think. So it's right at the beginning of May, I want to say. And we notify those parents right away. Any other question? Okay, so here are, there it is. Here are the directions to, and again, I'm gonna send this so that parents have it. Here's the link to the sample test. It can be accessed through your student's computer and other computers as well. Students do not have to have a login. You can see here, you go into click on the top, writing, test, you select the test. Is Miss Edie in? Did she make it in?
Yes, I'm here.
Do you want to keep going with this one?
Well, so it's pretty self-explanatory once you get to that login page, and then you just drop down and then you'll look for whatever sample test you want to take. And the teachers will go over this in class with your student also.
So we have the click of the test that your student will be taking, and
And then this one is the oral reading fluency part. And this is one extra test that only third graders take. So fourth and fifth graders will also be taking the AASA. This is something that third graders will take individually. And so what happens with this one is we'll take them individually, and we'll take them in groups of 6 to read passages out loud into headphones with the microphone. And so the goal for that one is that they're reading fluently and understanding what they're reading at the same time. And so if you can just practice having them read books or something that they're comfortable reading, that will really help them with this test also. Okay, and this just gives an example of how to take that test. Once they press that red button, they can start reading. It gives them 1 minute to read that passage, and they try to read as much as they can in that 1 minute. And the third grade teachers are really good at practicing this with students when they're doing progress monitoring for reading regularly. So that's a good thing. Okay, and this is important also. So the oral reading fluency, the reading test, and the writing test are all counted as 1 grade. So if your student is absent for one of those tests, they will not get a language arts grade or an ELA grade. So they have to take all 3 in order to get that grade for that portion. And then the math test is just 1 separate grade.
And that concludes our presentation. I'm going to stop sharing. And then, is there any questions from our fabulous parents that are here tonight? You are all so good. I will be,
Group.
yes, very good group. I'm going to stop the recording. I will make sure I upload this to a YouTube format so that I can share the link with all of you, and you can use this at home as well. So your teachers will be sending you the link. And we actually finished in record time, 18 minutes. Woo!
Yeah, and we're still working on finalizing the exact dates for each test. But just to give you an idea, the first week, which is April 1st through the 5th, we usually try to get everybody to do the writing because that window closes right away. So we'll do writing first. And then third graders, we give them about the third week, which is the 15th through the 19th. So they have more time to prepare for those tests since they're younger and they need more time to learn the computer skills and things like that that are associated with our test. So be thinking about those dates, but we'll be finalizing those and sending those home as soon as we get them.